Geez, Marjorie, you're as fit as a fiddle.
Oh, I go walking every day.
Marjorie has been knitting for 95 years. Yes, you heard right. She's been knitting since she was 5 years old. And it was a skill that came in handy when her husband served overseas for 3 years during World War II, shortly after they got married.
I did a lot of knitting during the war to make a bit of money. It was just a help. Because the army gear, the army pension wasn't that much. You had to do something. Well, it passed the time away.
Marjorie says she was born and raised in the South Auckland suburb of Papatoetoe and has lived in the community most of her life. She recently celebrated her 100th birthday in January with family and friends, a letter from the Queen and a personal handwritten note from the Prime Minister. Today at her South Auckland rest home, she's crafting a pink cardigan. You knit these lovely little clothes for the babies there. Some of them are premature, some of them a bit older.
Bits of all sorts.
We've seen a package of all the clothes that are knitted, sent in by different knitters from around New Zealand and the world. How do you feel when you're knitting those clothes for the babies?
Oh, just something to do, really, and that's helping them along. I'm just so thrilled to do anything, being able to do anything like that.
Marjorie tells me she's lost count of the number of things she's knitted. Some of the babies that you knit for, they come from homes that may not have heating,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Homes that may be in poverty. They may not have access to a lot of warmer clothes, things like that. So Sandra tells me that many of these families are very grateful for the clothes that they get for their babies. Mm. How does that make you feel?
Oh, very good, I don't mind doing it. What wool I've got, I knit.
Sandra Gange, CEO of the Middlemore Foundation, has lived and worked in South Auckland for almost 2 decades and says the foundation is thankful for regular knitters like Marjorie who make a difference in their community. But she was overwhelmed when the call out for more supplies went gangbusters.
I got the call from our neonatal, our Premier Baby ward at Middlemore Hospital saying, look, we're just running really short and we've got an influx of premies that really need clothes. They just don't have any other way to get clothes, mainly because we come from an environment of quite a lot of high socioeconomic deprivation in South Auckland. So we put out a call on Facebook, just thinking, okay, we'll get our existing knitters to get on board and start knitting more preemie and tiny little garments rather than the full-size baby stuff they normally do. And we were just overwhelmed by the result.
She thought the foundation had about 1,300 regular knitters across New Zealand, but the response was much bigger.
But we've just recently realised with this Facebook post and that we've got knitters coming from all over the world and knitting away in the States and in the UK and other parts of the world in Australia.
It's a community in the highest deprivation bracket in New Zealand where 1 in 2 children live in poverty. A significant number of the babies who leave Middlemore Hospital go into overcrowded housing or housing that may lack adequate heating. Sandra says the foundation is grateful for booties, beanies, cot blankets and anything that keeps babies warm. She says often the garments are treasured by mums who can't afford to buy warm clothing or are unable to leave the hospital if their babies are born premature.
A mum whose baby had a rare disease and she was in the hospital for a very long time, the little wee baby, and the mum was there as well, constantly looking after. I think they were in hospital for more than 6 months when the baby was born, and she was given some socks and a blanket by the knitters when she was in hospital, and her baby's now 5 and she still got the socks and blanket, and they're really important to her. It's made all the difference. I think that somebody cared enough to help her while she was in that really difficult time.
While they welcome all sorts of new clothing sent in for the babies, knitted garments are useful because they're stretchable and breathable for the babies who wear them. Marjorie encourages others to take up knitting and says she won't be stopping anytime soon.
You'll have to take up knitting for middle.
Gosh, your hands are fast.
Practice.
You're a pro, Marjorie.
Just practice. I think once you start knitting, you knit anything.
And you've never stopped?
No, not yet.
And it's part of her secret to a long life.
Just keep going. Once you sit down, I think, and throw it in, you had it. You've got to keep going.
For the Miramore Foundation, Sandra says a little bit of knitting goes a long way.
These are beautiful items. They're knitted with care and love and skill by knitters that want to make a difference and want to help. So it's just one way of them reaching out to a family that needs it.